Welcome, folks. Welcome to the Icebox. Jeez, Louise, I'm freezing. God. So, Mike Sharkey, Sam Carter, we're here to talk about outcomes tagging. So, this is a really good application of using data in Canvas and learning data to help with assessment and outcomes. And so it's a great application of how to use the data to solve academic problems that we have. So what we have is essentially a product. So it's in place. It's a combination with us from Enterprise Technology, the folks from UOEEE who do the evaluation and assessment, and the colleges who own programs. So we work as a team to help this outcomes tracking. We work with them, and the outcome is a dashboard. And the dashboard gives the program person information about who's learning and who's achieving learning outcomes. So what we'll do is we'll talk about the product, how it's created, talk about implementation, so how it works and the steps that are there, the reports and the dashboards that are created at the end. And then we talk about cost maintenance and support. The reason for that is we started this in about 2018, 2019. Started it with one college, then a second college. This past year, the provost office was looking for a program outcomes tool across all the colleges. And so they looked at us and a commercial product. So like basically we were going up against a vendor. So we formatted this presentation like we were doing a sales pitch, even though they weren't like paying us for it. But I thought that was great, the fact that we've developed something in-house to solve certain problems, and then we got to the point where the provost was actually comparing us against a commercial vendor for this, and I'm like, cool. And I think we won, but we haven't gotten the official letter or the swag in the mail or the box of confetti, so we'll kind of see where it ends up. So Sam and I work in Enterprise Technology, and it's just been a really good partnership of how to use the data to help our partners in ASU solve problems. All right, so here's what we're trying to solve. Let's say you're in a Bachelor's of Accounting program. If you go to the web page for that program, there's a set of outcomes. When you complete this program, you will know how to analyze financial statements. You will be able to do this. It lists these outcomes in there. What happens when you graduate? You get two things. You get a GPA and a diploma. So what happened to all those things that we said you will be able to do? It kind of gets a little bit kind of hidden, because what if you can't do two of them? Like, am I not going to let you graduate? Well, no, but you told me I was going to learn these 15 things. And to me, it's a little bit of a dirty secret of education that we say, by you taking this program, you're going to learn these things, but we never really follow up on it and say, well, did you or didn't you? And if you didn't, like, what do we do about that? You get a GPA, which is a very aggregated, mashed together, horrible view of your 4 years of doing it. That's not what we want to do. We want to find a way to say, hey, let's get that detail out. Kind of use this as a visual. So we start a program. So let's say it's Bachelor's of Accounting. We say, hey, here's a program. One of the first things that academic department will do is list the outcomes. When you finish this program, you will know these things. But then they start doing a second thing, which is building the courses. So they go over to the other side and they say, okay, here's all the courses, here's all the assignments, here's details of the assignments. But what we lose is this. So where is, if my outcome 4 here is the student in this accounting program will be able to analyze financial statements, how do I tie that to these assignments? Like, how do I know it's in week 2 of Accounting 350 in this assignment, or it was this quiz I took in this one course? That connection gets lost. And the problem is, that's where all the data are. The data are in the learning management system in Canvas. It's there. One of the things that drove us to start this, I used to work at a different institution, and when accreditation time came around, they said, oh, okay, the accreditors are going to measure us on if we achieve the outcomes that we promised we were going to achieve. Got it. So we said people in the accounting program are going to learn these 15 things. So, hey, I'm going to go pull papers from the last 5 years of people who finished the week 2 assignment in this class. I'm going to write a rubric that can grade this paper. I'm going to staple the rubric to the top of the papers, and now I'm going to hire faculty to go through and fill this out. And I'm like, y'all already graded those assignments years ago. Like, why are you redoing it? Like, why don't you just measure it better? And that's what this is. So what we're saying is, if we can just make this connection between the assignment in the course in Canvas and that outcome that you said that assignment tests, then it's just a reporting issue. Then all we're doing is building a report and filling things out. So here's what we do. We do this mapping. So the college says, here is the outcomes for this program. We create a tag, and just think a hashtag on X, formerly known as Twitter. So you can see here the hashtag exercise BS1.2. So for those of you who know, that is the plan code, right? So that is the Bachelor's of Science in Exercise Science in College of Human Services. The 1.2 is outcome 1.2. So there's the outcomes that are sort of sub 1.2, 2.5. We use this hashtag because it's unique. That EXCERBS is a unique code for the Bachelor's in Exercise Science, right? So a Bachelor's in Accounting and Master's in Computer Science all have a unique string, because since we're putting these tags everywhere, we can't clash and overwrite, so we want to make sure they're unique. So we use the plan code. And then you see we threw a little Apple AirTag in there. It's sort of like putting an AirTag in your purse and your luggage and your car and the things that you don't want to lose. So we put these strings, these tags, into Canvas. So if the week 2 assignment in Accounting 350 is writing a paper that tests my knowledge of understanding how to analyze financial statements, then I'll put the BSACC 2.5 hashtag in the week 2 assignment. So if you're a faculty, it'll say, week 2, write a paper, blah, 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 hashtag. And Sam's actually going to show the example. She's actually going to go into Canvas, and you'll see how it kind of flows throughout. So what we're literally doing is pasting strings of text into assignments in Canvas. And then once we've done that, we're just doing a reporting task, right? Find me all the EXCERBS tags and pull them out, and now I can see how students have done, because each of those tags is in a graded assignment. I can pull out, this student got a 75% in the assignment, this student got 100. I can average them together. I could stack them in different ways. So we're throwing tags in assignments, and then we do reporting on the end. So before I go into detail, I want to pause there. Any questions on why we're doing this and how we approached it? We're going to kind of show everything for it, but I want to make sure y'all are with me. All right? Lots of nods, or cold people shivering to stay warm, and they're just like, I had no idea what he said, but I'm shaking my head because it's freezing cold in here. So again, we're using these tags in here, and our main thing is uniqueness. And we're fortunate that we have these plan codes that are absolutely textually unique. And then we just tack on this 1.2, 2.3 on the end of it, and you'll see how these continue to play out. We're using this in lots of places. So we started this, I think CHS was the first one. CHS came to us. And for those of you who are into Canvas, Canvas has an outcomes feature built in. So Canvas outcomes is a thing. It kind of does this, But if you're Canvas, you can only really do it one way. So your features and functions are pretty rigid, and they didn't really meet our needs. WP Carey was using it, and they had to download the CSV from Canvas and reformat stuff, and so it sort of worked for them, but I'm not a fan of that. I need it to really work for us. So there is a Canvas feature, but CHS came to us and said, this isn't working, we want to do it this way, and that's what we start building it with. And then you could see grassroots, we've just building this with more colleges and programs over the years. So it's been a really good testament to this. So we talked about kind of how this implementation works. And it's funny, creating these tags and putting them into Canvas seems labor intensive, right? Because you're going into assignments and you're actually like editing and pasting. The first time we did this with CHS, it was funny, and I say this all the time. We were having argument/discussion over who's going to do the tagging. Like they were looking to us. I'm like, it's kind of your programs and your courses. We spent more time in meetings arguing about who was going to do it than it actually spent to do it. Like once somebody from CHS sat down and did it, they're like, oh, that wasn't too bad. If a school uses master shells, so let's say you have 10 sections of Accounting 300, you create a master, and then for 10 different faculty, they create a copy of that. You put it in the master, and then it gets inherited. And so if you're doing master shells, it's great. It'll continue on there. So that's the task, is having to go in. UOEEE, the Office of Evaluation, Effectiveness, and a third E, they're great partners with us in this. So they are a division of the Provost's office that assists all of the colleges with assessment, accreditation, and they've always have had guidelines and processes for doing assessment. When we started doing this, they said, hey, can we partner with you? We want to pull your hashtags into our documentation, and so that it all flows through. So now Sam works really closely with the UOEEE office. They have a portal. Is it SharePoint? Okay. They have a portal they've developed where the colleges go in to put their assessment data, and it actually incorporates this tagging information into it. So we're really happy to work with them as partners. And you could see Canvas tagging. They have the kind of tag syntax in there. So it's there early on in the process. Here's the actual tagging. So Sam's going to show this in an example. And so you can see in an assignment, it just shows up. So this is where it's kind of funky. If you're a student, you see this. Sometimes it might be on the bottom, sometimes on the top, but you'll see this tag, and it would be nice if there's a way we could add it as like metadata behind the scenes so they don't physically see it, but it's not too bad. You could put it in a row of a rubric. So that's really nice, because if you're looking at an assignment and the rubric is how was their grammar, how was the organization, how was their understanding of the topic, you really want that third one, do they understand the topic? You don't care as much about grammar unless the outcome is written communication, then you might want that. But you can get really specific. So you start putting these tags in all of the assignments, rubric rows, and quizzes. We don't do quiz question. We can do a quiz, but not a quiz question. That's a level of granularity we don't have yet. But you start putting these tags in. And when it's done, well, this was great. We like saying here. The nice thing about this is once you do the tagging, which is not that onerous, the data just flow. So we built a dashboard which takes the results. And when we bring on a new program in a new college, we're essentially just duplicating the dashboard and saying, don't search for these tags, search for these tags. Change the plan code. And so once the work is done, it flows through real nicely. All right, so I'm going to pause here because these are the reports. And Sam's going to go through, and she's going to start from the beginning and show the UOEEE side, show the Canvas tagging, and then show the reports. I'll show them real quick because they're awesome, just so you have an idea of what we're going towards. So this is saying, here are the, whatever the number is, 15 different outcomes for the bachelor's in exercise science. You could see how many student assessments we got, how many samples, how many met the requirements. And so what this is saying is, for these outcomes, percent needed for mastery is 75. That means that's, you know, did the student get at least 75% on that assignment? And then you could see how many students met that. So from a quality control standpoint, if this is my program, I could look and say, man, there's a couple of these outcomes that not the majority of students are getting. Did I do something wrong? Did we not teach that well? Did we not test it well? So it's really good from an assessment, a self-assessment standpoint, in addition to an accreditation saying, prove to me that you taught these things. So I'll pause there, I'll ask for questions, and I'm gonna pass it on to Sam. So now that you've seen the whole thing through, yes, question? Sure. So the question is, sorry, Sam. So the question is, once I do the tagging, do I have to re-tag again, or does it keep inheriting? So it depends on how you build courses. If you use the previous semester as the shell for your next semester, it inherits everything. If you start fresh, it has nothing. And you mentioned, you know, the faculty doing it. A lot of times it's a program coordinator because they want to do it across all. But yes, this maintenance of how it goes. And one thing I like to point out for that, it can time travel. So you could go to a course from 2 years ago and add tags to it and now see the results of it. Because it's data that's there. All it needs is that air tag so I can connect it. So if you think about it, it can kind of go back in time, which is nice. Yeah. Wait, Sam wants to be my girl.
Well, I guess I'm loud enough, but the following up question is that when looking into the data, do you do any modifications towards the previous tagging procedure? Like, what if there is a, let's say, tag, students are doing pretty unwell in it? What are the potential solutions to it?
So, you know, what you do with the data, so like if you see that one outcome is really poor, the program manager should say, look, we're offering this exercise in exercise science bachelor's degree, and this outcome 4.2 is really poor. We need to look at those assignments, and there's actually one of the dashboards you can say, this tag, the 4.2, it shows up in these 4 assignments. It's in this course in the week 2, it's in this course. So now you can see where the tags are. Now you can do an assessment to say, what's wrong? You know, is it, now this where a dashboard isn't gonna tell you this answer, right? What did we do wrong? Did we misword the assignment? So it's a poorly written assignment. Did we have bad content? We never teach that content. It's not in the book anywhere. So we need to have better content, right? There's the instructional designers in the house know there's a decent question there to ask. That's the follow-up is now that we can see there's a deficiency, we should go up. We're not going to enforce that. We're basically just shining light on the fact that it's really poor for 4.2. You should do a little bit of homework and figure out why. Don't make Sam run too far. She's already there.
Thank you. So for each of these tags, can they be used on multiple places, like multiple assignments, multiple quizzes? And if so, is this an aggregate of that? And is that weighted based off of like the type of assignment, whether it's like a 10-point quiz or a final project?
Yep. So these tags can definitely be used in multiple places. There's one of the views of the report that'll say, this tag shows up in these classes and assignments. So you actually see where it is, and which is nice because you'd be like, oh crud, we only tested this in one place. That's not great. We should really do it in 3 places. So one, it's used in multiple. And then we have different ways of aggregating. So you can do like take your best score, take the average score. So there's a little bit of, there's not a full weighting where you can say this one is 50%, this one is 20, this is 20, and this is 10. There's a little bit. For the most part, it's averaging, but there's a little bit of take the max score kind of thing. Yep.
So I have 2 questions. One is in relation to your LMS system. So I think you may have mentioned this, but this is a partnership between your Canvas administrators as well, too, right? I think that's what you said, your office.
So actually, it's not.
No.
We use Canvas, and we get the data from the Canvas data that we get into our data warehouse.
Okay,
But we don't
gotcha.
involve the Canvas administrators. Putting the tagging in there is a person who has edit access to the courses, but at the program, at the college level, there's
College
somebody who can do that. Canvas is split up by sub-accounts. So WP Carey School of Business is a sub-account. There's somebody who can edit all WP Carey courses, so they can do it. We don't need to go to the ET folks who administer Canvas.
Gotcha. Good question. Okay, good. Thank you for that response. And then my next question is, and I don't know if it was sort of similar or along the same lines as the gentleman down there, but is this a cumulative percentage of all the courses, like the courses or the programs? I'm just thinking of this like visually.
It's by term.
By term. Okay,
Yep,
gotcha. Okay,
absolutely.
thank you.
It's by term. One of the charts Sam built in last year is term to term. So you could see, hey, this 4.2, we were at 50%, and then we went up to 60, and then down. And so you can see term to term. Right here.
Again, I have 2. First one is, you said it doesn't work with non-Canvas, but some assignments, publisher assignments, there is an assignment that exists in Canvas and the score is imported into Canvas. Will this tool bring that information in if you tag the assignment?
Yes, we are essentially, so if the assignment says, do this Pearson My Math Lab quiz, and in that text we put a hashtag, student will click, they'll do the Pearson My Math Lab assignment, they'll get a grade, the grade will come back into the Canvas gradebook. We look at the tag in the assignment description, and we look at the grade in the gradebook. So we don't look at where you went to do it. So yes, if you're doing the third party, we'll get that, as long as it's in the Canvas gradebook.
Next one, the data, are you importing it and storing anywhere? Because contractually, I believe Canvas courses will only exist for 2 to 3 years or something. And then
The-
they'll be deleted from Canvas.
These data come into our data warehouse, and they're around for longer than that. So we are pulling from the warehouse. So every day we have a process that gets Canvas data and puts it in our warehouse, and these dashboards are driven off of the enterprise data warehouse data, not Canvas directly. No, it is detailed. The data we're pulling in, we have data that is one row of one rubric for one student and one assignment. We are very, very granular. The reporting aggregates it all up together, but we are getting actually atomic level data for the student.
But it's not that student's actual quiz data. It's like the score, but not the question.
It's the score of the quiz, but not every question. Correct. Yep. Okay. You're up, Sam.
You be the mic person.
I'll be Mike Girl now.
Mic the mic. All right. I'm going to switch screens and show you a demo of the actual live product. I guess I can start here so you can see an actual tag. So let's see, I guess you go like that. There we go. So this is an actual assignment that is live right now in the dashboard that I'm going to show you. And what they have to do is they have to have the tag at the beginning, because we only take so many characters at the beginning, and then we can find it in our data. So it's really junky. So because this is data conference, I'll go into a little bit on how we parse out that data, because when we get the data into the warehouse, it includes all the HTML functions and all that stuff, so it's not clean. We have to actually do some regex in the code to parse out just the tag. And you can have multiple tags in an assignment, multiple tags in a rubric. And in order to get that cycle of tagging, we do a recursive CTE at the beginning. And once there's no more tags to be pulled in on that assignment, the recursive CTE will know to stop. So that's how we do it on the data side. Some people care, most people don't.
Nerd.
You care? Woohoo! And because we knew that this project was going to scale up possibly, we really were innovative with the way we did the data. So like Mike was saying, we have one SQL code, used to have multiple codes. Like each time we built the dashboard, we would make a specific code for that college program, whatever. But we were able to be innovative with the help of Josh Johnson and Paul and Mike, and create one code that runs through Alteryx, goes to an AUDB table that brings in all of the tags that exist everywhere in our data warehouse for assignments and rubrics. And so it'll make sense when I show you this next piece. I get there. Oh, that's not it. I wanted to show you a, but I don't quite know how. Okay. So this is how we find the tags for the dashboard. So I told you, like in the actual warehouse itself, we created a code and it's gonna find it, get all the nasty stuff out, do the recursive CTE, blah, blah, blah. But what's really powerful about this is we do a join, an inner join of this Google Sheet to our AUDB table that we use for everyone. So that's why we can just have that one table, because we inner join each program's personal master list. So if I'm doing a dashboard for Cronkite, for example, I don't have to worry about accidentally pulling in CHS data, because like Mike said, these unique tags will do a search and find the tag in our table and just bring that back. This makes it powerful for the end user, because now if they want to decommission a tag, all they have to do is delete it from here and it won't show in the dashboard the next day. We do a refresh. Likewise, if they need to add more tags, all they have to do is add it to their master list. As long as the tag's placed in the Canvas shell, and I'm laughing because some people are like, I can't find my data, and they just created the tag, but they didn't place it. So now I have to qualify that statement whenever I talk to people. As long as you place the tag and data's coming in, it'll find it the next day or next couple days, and it'll automatically update your dashboard. So no interaction needed on our side. So you don't have to tell us that you're deleting or adding. Those are decisions that you can make, and then the next day it'll reflect in your dashboard. So that was really cool thing that we came up with. So now you get to see the actual, well, I'm pretty sure I'm timed out. No. So now we get to see the actual dashboard. So just to stay with Cronkite, this is Cronkite's dashboard. And as you can see, they're doing very well. And I'm just going to quick go back here so you can see what we use for the criteria. So this is information that's pulled from the UOEEE portal. Every so often, I don't know the cadence, but at least yearly, they have to go in and look at their plan codes, their plans, and make updates. And when they do that, they have to say, for this outcome, we want 80% of the population, student population, to score 80% or better. So those are the two criteria that we're looking for when we're doing our calculations of if they did or did not meet criteria in the data. And here on column H, we were able to do some automation with the way we calculate data, because before it was like, it was not good, because some people wanted like, oh, I want the average, I want the raw, I want the min, I want the max. And we would have to figure out like, how do we do that for each individual program, because not everyone is the same. So what we did is inside of Tableau, there's a calculation that's saying if raw, take average, if max, take max of this tag, if min, etc. So now we don't even have to worry about doing any calculations. We only give them 4 options. I think it's raw, average, min, and max. And they can decide which one of those 4 options they want to do, and and the Tableau will pick up and read it from this Google Sheet. Likewise, Tableau will also pick up columns E and F. So not everyone's going to be 80%. There are some that are like 90, 80, 70, 60, and automations inside of Tableau. I won't show you that. Not that big of a nerd. So, like Mike was saying, we have some really cool ways to slice the data. So for UOEEE reporting, the reporting has to show the number of students that were assessed, the number of students that are meeting expectations, and the percent of mastery. So also, it needs to show only majors. And just recently, they added this extra condition of, is it a immersion or an online class? Like Mike was saying before, they were doing all of this by hand in the past. I don't
want to skip over what you did with the major only. So if I'm teaching an econ class and I've got 200 students in my econ, only 70 of those may be econ majors, right? The rest are other. If I'm the program coordinator for econ and I'm doing this to being a nice, I only care about those 70 because they are in my major. So by checking major only, you're ignoring the 130 who are non-econ majors, so you're truly assessing the outcomes of those students in your major. So what we've done here is, for going down the data nerd path, we've joined the Canvas data onto the PeopleSoft student plan data, so we know who, the same way we know the campus they're in, we know their major, all that's joined in. So because of what we have in the warehouse, we can pull that together and make it as simple as a checkbox, I only want majors. Like that right there, we know is huge, and this is the power of having our data all in the warehouse together. If this was just Canvas data, right, this is why Canvas outcomes, Canvas has it as a feature, but Canvas has no idea who our majors are. They have no idea of their modality. All this is in our data. So just, I mean, I love the fact that it's a little checkbox,
Yeah.
but the power behind that thing is huge.
Totally. As you guys can see, like when we have all students, that's a bigger number, 50, and then when we just do major, it goes down to like 5. So that, you know, I was trying to find those 5 students. That was all manual before. So at this point, when we show this, we get a lot of oohs, you know. So then when we show them the online versus immersion, it's like, this is great, you know. So it's like Christmas in July, like someone said. The other thing that we can do this year, we added reporting year. So I don't know if you guys know, there's academic year, calendar year, and reporting year. Reporting year starts in the summer, fall, spring. Academic year starts fall, spring, summer, calendar year, January to December. So now that it can actually just look at that 1 year. Someone asked a question about going through multiple courses. It also can have a student take the class twice in 1 year. So what do we do with that? Well, we aggregate that, unless they tell us otherwise, unless they tell us to take the max, min, or whatever of that score, we aggregate it to an average. So, and that student's only counted once. So these are distinct counts, no matter how many times that student took the class in this reporting year. But you can also get as granular as to just say, well, just give me the fall of 2023 or whatever the case may be. Do you have some? Okay. So this one is really cool.
Pam, we had a question.
Oh, yeah. Just a question about your, I don't need the mic. Oh, no, it's for the Zoom people.
People online.
Gotcha. Okay. See, I'm ignorant to the online learners. Sorry about that. So my question was back to the Google Sheet, the connection. Is that a live Google connection?
Yes.
Okay. Gotcha. Thank you.
Yep. It's live in so much that we only refresh it once a day.
I just needed to know that.
Yep. Yeah. So this is like probably a lot. This is a very powerful addition to our tagging system here.
And on the once a day thing, this is not something that people are checking once a day. This is like end of term, let me go and see. So it's nice. Usually we have requirements like, oh, I've got to hit F5 and refresh and get data. This is easy. They're like, oh, as long as it's there at the end, I'm good. So like 1 day is way more than enough. Right.
No, we're going to bring in grades while in progress. So this is updating all the time.
It's all, it's
It's all-
updated every day.
Yep.
So most people don't look at it more than at the end of the term, but this is updated every day.
Question, the outcomes like outcome 1.2, outcome 1.3, and the minimum requirement, like the 80%, 90%, whatever. Do they exist for all programs, or does the college or program have to create those or give them to you for this to happen?
That's a good question. So when they do their plan in the UOEEE portal, we pull that data out of there. So they decide, and I don't know what the methodology is, but they decide what they want their criteria to be, and then we just pass that through.
Well, I'm saying, do those criteria and minimum standards already exist?
Not unless you are with a program and you've worked with UOEEE to create that plan. So yeah, that's their assessment plan. So if someone is here and saying, this is awesome, I want to start working on it tomorrow, the first step is UOEEE, right? And or talk to us and we'll connect you with them, right? We're sort of the worker bees in the background. UOEEE, it is their job to work with the programs to say, let's have an assessment plan, let's make sure the coverage is right, make sure all the data are there, and then we're just called in to do the tagging or the help with the tagging and the reporting. So UOEEE is where this starts from.
I know in Maricopa Community Colleges, in their catalog, they list the required outcomes. I've not seen anything for that for the at ASU as a whole.
I haven't seen it published, but UOEEE is where that is going to live.
Yeah.
But again, I don't know if they do that for 100% of programs. So maybe some program where like, we're good and we do all of our program assessment and we have it in our own little internal document. I'm not sure if it's ASU wide or not, which is why the provost said we want to have a common assessment strategy across, because they probably want to have something more like that.
And I can tell you that we work in tandem, UOEEE and I, so they go to UOEEE first, and then UOEEE circles me in. So that's, usually people don't just randomly come up to me and say, I want you to build me a dashboard. University of, what was the O? Office of Effective Evaluation Enterprise. Okay, there you go.
Yes, so like accreditation comes a lot through them for university-wide accreditation.
All right, so here we have this page. This is the audit page. This is probably the most used page when we build the dashboard. This tells us what the tag is, what course the tag was placed in, what assignment, if it's an assignment tag or a rubric tag, and the class number it was placed in, so that you can do like a little audit for yourself to make sure that you have properly placed your tags and they look the way you think they're going to look. Someone asked about how do you know what's wrong? Well, the first step is, of course, the summary page, and then we get a little bit deeper. We disaggregate the information even more. So because we have that student PeopleSoft data, we can go and say, hey, by campus, this is how your folks did. So there's 12 people online, and you hover over it, it'll tell you the hashtag, how many students were measured, how many students were needed to reach their population criteria was 10. They got 12, so they're at 100% when they only needed 80%. So that information is there. We have a mid-type, honors, first gen. So because this is a data conference, I'll talk a little bit about why it's wide and not long. For me, every time when I was designing this, I thought, like, I always think every time you scroll down, it's turning a page. And when you turn a page, do you remember what's on the other page? So you usually don't. Then you have to scroll all the way back up. So I, in turn, said we'll do whatever can fit within a screen, and then we have these pages. So you can go to your second page, third page, fourth page, etc., which gets smaller once you pick your plan and your program and you do all those filters. Then you just go over. And what we did was made sure that each time you see one of these brackets, the tag exists again, just to remind you this is the row, this is the tag you're looking at. So it's consistent all the way through. So we have veteran status, academic status, race, ethnicity, average cum GPA, average credit hours. We can do much more, but that's just our standard. Then we'll go to, I don't know if they have anything for, oh, they do. So then we have a longitudinal study. So someone, I think Mike, you mentioned here, like if you change something because you noticed you had an issue with one outcome and you say, I want to go in, we're going to change it, we're going to try to do this a little bit differently, you might see a drop and then a pickup. That kind of lets you know whatever you did is working. Because last year, when you had it, didn't put those new parameters in place, you were down. But then next year, when you look again, you'll see that you went back up. So this is really cool when you have enough data. Most people don't go back, so they don't have enough data to do the longitudinal study. But as you gather that data, this is something that will always be there. And then at the bottom, you can see these are the years. This is the terms that we're using within this space. So there's one more thing that I wanted to share because we're at the data conference. So here, this, can I share it? Okay, I have to ask Dad. So, so this is a dashboard support form, and this is because as much as I hope I'm here forever, I may not be doing this product forever, but people email me, we need help, but that's all locked in my emails now. So creating this dashboard support form for people to fill out takes it out of my emails and puts it somewhere where folks behind me are gonna be able to see the issues for this dashboard. So that is where I usually push people. Also, here is an interactive, I use Figma to make a prototype. And so I also kind of use this when people are thinking about building a dashboard because they need to run it by people, but they don't have access to a dashboard. I'll give them this link so that when they present it, they'll have some prototype-ish kind of dashboard that they can use. This has been very helpful for me, by the way, so that's why I wanted to share it. Dad said I could too.
You know, the progression of this has been great. So when I started this in like 2018, 2019 with CHS, I'm like, yeah, if y'all throw these tags in there, I'll build you a dashboard. And it was great. And then a woman named Jinjing, who is an instructional designer with Ed Plus, and then came over to my team. She did a lot of the SQL, and she's like, hey, let's automate this and build better SQL so that it works from college to college, program to program without like rewriting it all the time. And then Sam took it to a whole new level, and we talk about productization. So kind of let's going out of the academic side here and let's go to the product side. We're building a product. And the whole thing is support, scalability, usability. You can see what she's done with the visual side. She's talked what she's done with the scalability, and it's at this whole other level now. And so the fact that we were demoing against a commercial product, I'm like, yeah, bring it on. Like, we got it. This is what we do. And so I'm really happy that we've done this grassroots thing. Now, it's taken us 5 years of incremental growth, but that's fine. We're helping people out and growing. But just such a testament to Sam, what she's done, the customer service skills and working with the teams. And so we're real proud of it. And you know, the hope here is that you guys see the value for folks that are on the academic side and the instructional design side, the technology side. You can see how this is a great application of, yo, there's lots of data up in Canvas. How do we get it out? Because it's really valuable and I want to help people. That's what we're doing.
The end.
Any final questions? All right, we're here if you want. End of the conference for today. 9 o'clock tomorrow, start sessions, grab some breakfast, go to 9 o'clock sessions, and see y'all at lunch tomorrow.